to come out front and talk a little bit. You know, when they told me I was coming this morning, I figured I needed to brush up on two things. One, somebody didn't teach me how to play Fortnite because I have no idea. And all the pretty young ladies in here, somebody needs to teach me how to do a TikTok dance because I don't know. Got it covered. Oh, she can teach me how to do a TikTok dance. Perfect. Me and you, Wendy, I need a 15-second TikTok dance. I have zero idea how to do one. I'm not going to be long this morning. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to stand up. I'm kind of lazy, so I'm going to grab a seat here. So, here's the deal. I remember what it was like on this day, 5th grade. It's almost summertime. Everybody's looking forward to it. It's an exciting time. And it's a time where each and every one of you probably are dreaming about what you're going to do this summer. But I just want to give you a couple things to think about. A couple things to kind of let sit on your brain over the summertime while we're having fun, while we're in the pool. I'll tell you a quick story about myself. People see me now, and they look at me talking on television, they look at me with a microphone in my hand and say, man, I want to be that guy. I was the same person as you are. When I was in the 5th grade, when I was 10, 11, 12 years old, I was a shy, short, little fat kid with an afro. Seriously. I was a shy little short kid with an afro, and because I was, how do you put it? Because I was a pretty bad kid, I did a lot of dumb things. You know, one of the things I did when I was like 6 or 7 years old, instead of waiting until my teeth fall out, I tried to pull my own teeth. Okay, yeah, exactly. I tried to pull my own teeth. So when I was in the 5th grade, my teeth finally grew back. These two front teeth here, they pointed in the opposite direction, because I took a piece of string, tied it to the door, and tried to get them out. Because I couldn't wait and allow them to just wiggle out on their own. I wanted to get them out, and because of that, I had to live with 2 crooked teeth for a number of years until I made enough money to get them fixed, basically. So, the point of that, I was you guys. I was in the same seats, sitting in the same captive audience, listening to somebody talk. Short, shy, with a little afro. I didn't have any confidence whatsoever. Same guy, same brain, but my mindset was different. I had zero confidence. And a kid with zero confidence, as a matter of fact, a young adult with zero confidence is somebody that's going to struggle throughout life. And it all changed for me. One day I was riding home on a bus. And again, short, fat little kid with an afro, doesn't say much. Oftentimes, you know what happens to that kid? He gets picked on, right? People pick on that kid because they know the kid can be taken advantage of. The kid can have things done to him, and because he's a little timid or a little shy, he's not going to say anything back because he doesn't want to create trouble. And finally, one day I got tired of it. I was riding home on a bus, and these 2 kids who were in the same family, they just kept picking on me and picking on me. And finally, one day, I just got tired, and we had binders, you know, back then, one binder, I could put every class in one binder, so the binder was pretty big. I literally, unbeknownst to, I don't know what got into me, I took the binder, and as I was walking off the bus, I took it and I smacked the kid over the head. Now, I'm not condoning taking your binder and smacking kids across the head. So, that's not the point of the story. The point of the story is I actually had enough confidence and enough belief in myself, and more importantly, I got to the point that I was fed up, that I wanted to do something about it. I wanted to stand up for myself. I wanted to show some confidence in who I was and what I wanted to be. And that was the day it turned around for me. That was the day that everything changed for me. Yeah, I was still short, fat with the afro. That didn't change until later on when I got a little bit more money. But my mindset was different. How I approached school daily was different. No longer did I walk around campus with my head down, not wanting to make eye contact. No longer did I come in the lunchroom and sit by myself. No longer did I not talk as a little dude. No longer did I not talk to or write little love notes to the little girls. Because at that point, my confidence came out. My confidence started to show. And I attacked everything I did, from the simplest things of homework, of tests, of whatever. I attacked those differently. Not that I was always going to be perfect, but the confidence and the mindset that I had changed. So people often look now, people say, man, you're on TV, you get to talk about football, you get to talk in front of millions of people, and the confidence that I got when I was a 12-year-old boy is the same confidence that I have now. It develops at some point. It's called a foundation. The foundation of what every person, of what every home is built on. Has anybody seen houses built? Anytime you see a home built, the first thing they do is they pour the concrete, they pour the foundation. Before they ever do anything else, you have to get the foundation set right first. And so I just want to share with you guys what you see now, the product you see now, the person that's here talking in front of you now is built off of confidence that happened 31 years ago. And that confidence has carried me throughout life. It's given me an opportunity to not only be a football player, but it's given me an opportunity also to grow up into a man, to be a dad, to do any and everything that I want to be. Okay? Some of you may not have that confidence to that level just yet. Some of you are way more far along than I was. Again, because I'm looking out here and I don't see any short little kids with an afro. What I see is a bunch of kids that are wide-eyed, bright-eyed, and bushy-tailed. I wasn't that kid. I wasn't that guy. And so you are far more down the road than I was. Okay? The second thing that changed in my life was when I went to LSU. Because all my life I grew up in a small town. It's in Winsboro, Louisiana. The population of my town is probably 3,500 people. The biggest thing in my town is Walmart. The biggest thing. There is no mall. There is no movie theater. It was Walmart. And I knew one day that there was more to life than my town. And so I started to dream and think outside of what it would be like to leave this town. I started to dream and think what it would be like to be outside of the confines of Winsboro, Louisiana. How many of you guys have dreams? How many of you guys have aspirations and things you think about that you want to be, places you want to go, things you want to do? How many of you guys watch television and say, I want to be like that person? Okay? I want to be like him. I want to be like her. I had those same dreams, the exact same dreams. Mine started off really simple. I just wanted to get out of Winsboro, Louisiana, because I knew there had to be something more outside the walls of Winsboro, Louisiana. And I never really knew how. I never knew how. And one day, as I was, again, starting at 12, short little fat kid with an afro, my confidence changed, but my athletic ability didn't. So when I got to high school, I wasn't starting on the football team. As a matter of fact, I didn't play. When I was a freshman and sophomore, I didn't play. I was the guy over there with the sticking the popcorn as the other guys were playing. That was me. And finally, my junior year, there was a coach who came up to me and said simply this: why not you? I said, what do you mean? Why not you? Why aren't you on the field playing? Why aren't you thriving and succeeding? Why aren't you becoming whatever it is that you want to be? I had no answer. And it forced me to go back and look in the mirror and ask myself, why not me? And so I started to think and not just dream about leaving the town. I started to dream about becoming something else. All right? My dad wasn't around. All right? My dad left when I was 8 years old. My mother raised 3 kids. So it was I'm a middle child. I got an older sister and a younger brother. And the only thing I wanted to think about was, how can I get outside these walls and become something big? I want to be like what I see on TV. I had to start to dream big. I had to start to allow myself to think and dream big. Didn't know what, didn't know how, but I knew there had to be more to it than what it is that I was thinking. And so finally my junior year, I got an opportunity to play football. And I got on the field, and I'll never forget coming home from the first practice. Because back then they sent report cards home. Okay, they didn't give them to us to bring home. They sent the report cards home. So before I made it home, my report card made it home before I did. And when I walked in the house, I noticed a very distinct look from my mother. I'm sure you guys know that look. That look when like something ain't right. You know, the teacher, Miss Marcus, or somebody that called home and told mom, hey, something ain't right. So when you walk in, you're trying to play it really cool. Hey, mom, how's your day? She's like, that look. We've all had it. My mother simply said to me this. She said, if you want to continue doing this, playing football, I better not see another C on the report card. And I'm like, I thought the C was pretty good. I thought I was doing really good. She said, no, she said, I know you can do better. It's not the fact about the C. It's about that you're not giving your best. So it wasn't about the grade. It wasn't about ridiculing me or demeaning me because I made a C. It was about not giving my best. That was the last C I ever made. I graduated LSU with 3.5. Never made another C in my life. Only because she challenged me. And I thought that she was going to take away the one thing that I had come to fall in love with, which was playing football. Again, short little fat kid with an afro, didn't really have a lot. I found football, and she was going to take it away because I wasn't doing the thing that she wanted me to do, which was give my best. So I say all of that to say this. I played 9 years in the NFL. I was very fortunate enough to meet a lot of great people. I made a lot of money. I worked a tremendous job. The job I have now, I enjoy more than when I played football. People look at football and say, man, you play football, it's got to be a great job. No, it's hard. It's very hard. All right? I broke a lot of bones, tore a lot of ligaments. But what I get to do now is I get to use my brain now to make a living. I get to sit back and talk and think and analyze and deduce and come up with reasoning. And it's all because of here. It's all because of what I learned. Understanding how to put sentences together. Understanding how to come up with reasons. They call it being an analyst. It's no different than going back to grade school and reading a story. Give me your summation of the story. I learned all those things when I was in middle school. I learned all those things then. And so I get to use some of those same things now. And so as you go off onto summer, and we go to summer camp, and we go on vacation, and we go do all the different things that we're going to do, have this one thought. Or ask yourself this one thing, should I say. What's my confidence like? What's my confidence like? What do I want to be? What are my dreams? And you may say, well, I mean, Booker, why are you asking me that now? Because you know why? Because it's the start of something. Mine started 31 years ago when I was 12 years old. I'm 43 years old. It hadn't changed since. It had to start somewhere. School ends tomorrow. It had to start somewhere. At some point, it has to start, because if it never starts, it can never end. So it has to start somewhere, so why not start it now? If it hasn't started, start it. If you don't have confidence, get it. How do you get confidence? It's really simple. You change your mindset. You say I can instead of I can't. You say I will instead of I won't. It's a simple change of mindset. And if you need help, you ask your parents. If you need help, you ask the teacher. If you need help, you ask people like myself that have been in these positions before. I have been 10, 11, 12 years old before. None of you kids have ever been 43. So I know a little something about what it's like to sit in those seats. I don't think any of you know what it's like to sit in my seat or any of the adults in the room's seat. So when we share advice with you, take the advice. Enjoy it. It's fun. I had a lot of fun. I'm still having a lot of fun. But it's all because I have confidence in myself. I have confidence in who I am. I have confidence regardless of what the situation is to be the only person on the left side of the room and everybody else is on the right. I have confidence to be the one in the front of the room who's sitting up here now sweating, talking to you guys when everybody else is over there. I have that confidence now And again, it had to start somewhere. Does everybody understand? Yes. Does everybody know how to go and process that and think about the dreams that you're going to have? Yes. And at some point, you don't have to tell me or tell your teacher. Maybe just write it down. Just write it down one day. Write down what you want to do. Write down what you want to be. It can be anything in the world. It can be whatever it is. I wrote down one simple thing. I wanted to leave Winsboro, Louisiana. That's all I wrote down. That's it. And it's amazing when we think, when we put in action, what can happen. All right? So that's all I got. I wanted to share that with you guys so you guys can understand the people you see on television, the people that you see, the people that we idolize, the people that we talk about, no different than you. I'm different than you. I like the same things. My son Jacob's in the 4th grade. He'll tell you, I'm as simple as can be. And most of the people you see on TV are the same way. We're no different than you. It started right there. So why not you? You may not be on television, but you can be a teacher, a doctor, a lawyer. You can be whatever it is that you want to be. The person on TV just happens to have a job that people want to watch. It doesn't make them any different than anybody else. The most valuable job in America, I've said this before, and after Zoom school last year during the pandemic, I firmly believe it, that the most valuable job in America is being a teacher. There's no question about it. And I am a firm believer in that, especially after trying to do some of the homework that Miss Lighthall was sending home with Miss Window. There's literally nothing I can do with that. And so you guys have great teachers. Do something for me before school is out, before tomorrow. Just tell your teacher thank you. Because guess what? I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I'll be honest with you. I couldn't do it. Great job, NFL, made a lot of money. I couldn't teach. It's just not who I am. I'm not built for that. It takes a special person to mold and teach young people. It takes a special person to have the patience and the confidence and all those things that they can take themselves and put themselves on the back burner and put you in the forefront and teach you. Somebody has to teach you. Train a child up when they're young. That's what all these teachers do. They're trying to train you up right now. Train you up that way one day you can go off and be whatever it is you want to be. So just tell your teacher thank you. At some point, tell your teacher thank you. Now, I understand we want to do a little Q&A, have some questions. So I'm going to just kind of randomly do this. How do we want to do? Do we want to just call the kids and let the kids ask questions? Yes, I did hear the kids prepare cards, and we're going to get the cards now. So, is anybody, as far as the TikTok, come here, you. Right? Yes, you. So, are you the TikTok queen? So everybody say, so give me like a 15, give me something simple. Give me like a 15-second TikTok that I can do. Really? Who? I need something simple, like something really simple. You gotta know more like this, really simple. Huh? Just pick one. Pick one is easy. Okay. Give me one. Just show me one. What was it? Hold it. I found a TikTok. Appreciate it. Hey, don't be shy. Okay. Yeah, okay, I got you. So here's a question I get asked all the time. More people call me Booger than they call me Anthony. So where I come from, Louisiana, everybody's got a nickname. My sister, who's a little taller, we call her Treetop. It's real original. My brother's friends gave him this nickname because I guess he used to play a lot of jokes. They call him Catfish. So I got called Booger when I was 2 years old. My mother gave me that nickname. This is probably not the greatest thing to say, but as a 2-year-old, I was a pretty bad kid, and I got called a lot of things. Most of them I can't say right now because your parents would be mad at me. Booger was one of the things that my sister picked up on, and the older I got, she heard my mother call me that, and she teased me with it. And it bothered me in a typical, when you have an older sibling and something bothers a younger person, what do? They just keep doing that. So she just kept calling me Booger, and over the years, more people heard it, and more people started calling, and true story, it bothered the heck out of me. And when I went to LSU, I'm like, finally, I get to get rid of the name, and I'm just going to be Anthony. And the first tackle that I made at LSU, the guy comes on the loudspeaker and says, tackle about Booger McFarland. And I just looked up. And I'm like, how did he know? How did he find out? And so at that point, I said, I can either embrace it or I can continue to fight. And that was September the 3rd, 1995. That was the last time I stopped fighting. So more people now call. Actually, I use it to my advantage. If somebody says Anthony, I usually don't respond. If somebody says Booger, that at least means they either know me or they know enough about me to use my nickname. All right, so that's how I got the nickname. How long did you play football? True story about football. So I gave you the short version earlier. So the reason I started playing football, how I started, my mother was pretty strict. And when the street lights came on, we had to be home. So street lights on, I need to be in the house. As a kid, when time changes in the fall, you got to be home at like 5 o'clock. So we lived across the street from the junior high school. Okay? And I used to notice that when I was sitting on my porch at 5 o'clock, I looked across at the football field, the kids were practicing football. I'm like, how the hell do those kids get to practice football at 5 o'clock and I'm at home? And I said, okay, light goes off in my head. Maybe I need to play football. And that's how I started playing football. Football was a way for me to stay out a lot longer than I could. I wasn't even good at it, didn't play, but I started playing when I was in the 6th grade. And let me rephrase it. I was on the team in the 6th grade. I didn't start playing until I was in the 11th grade. Okay? What is a day like working at ESPN? So here's the funniest part. Here's how I got the job at ESPN. People laugh at this. I never auditioned. I never even applied for the job. I was doing local radio here in Tampa. And one day, when you're doing local radio, you schedule interviews. I'm sure you guys, mom and dad, listen to the radio. You hear somebody call in, hey, we're about to interview such and such, and they call in. So I was expecting someone to call into our local station during in the next segment. So in the commercial break, the phone rings. I answered my phone. It was a Connecticut number. Never heard the guy, didn't even know anything about it. The guy says, hey, my name is Patrick. I work for ESPN. I've been listening to your show on the internet over the last couple of weeks, and I think that there may be an adventure that we're doing that you may be good for. And I was like, okay, that's cool, but I got 30 seconds left and I got to be back on the radio. And he was like, no problem. Can I call you back later tonight? And so he called me back, and they were starting in the SEC network in the fall of the next year. And he's like, I want you to come audition. Cool, no big deal. So I go audition for that. The SEC network led to working for ESPN, because ESPN owns the SEC network. I had zero idea what I was doing. The guy just said, hey, look at the red light and smile. And I'm like, okay, I'll do that. And because I've had the confidence since I was 12 years old, it didn't bother me looking into a lens talking. Now, I had to learn how to do the job. I had to learn, quote unquote, the building blocks or the foundation of how to do TV, but that's how I got the job. You never know who's listening. You never know who's watching. You never know what's around the corner. And that led to everything you see now. Sitting in a simple radio station in St. Petersburg, Florida, I got a phone call. Didn't even apply for it. Didn't apply for it at all, but that's how the job at ESPN came about. Some people think, well, man, you got the job. Because, no, it's kind of very, I don't believe in coincidences in life. Like some people say, man, that was a coincidence. Nah, I think there's certain things that happen in our lives that are destined to happen if we do what we're supposed to do. It's just kind of what I believe without getting too deep. Do you get nervous before going on TV? Absolutely. If someone could ever take my heart rate before we go on TV, and it's kind of weird because it's only that way on the first segment. Like we can do a 3-hour show, and like the first 5 minutes, it's like, man. And I always have to remind myself that this is a natural feeling. Like my mouth gets dry, you're sitting there, and you just have to remind yourself to breathe. It's no different than you guys taking a test. I used to be the same way before the test. Sitting there, you couldn't wait till the test comes out because I did what probably you should do. My memory was really good. And so the way I studied for the test, I never read books. Please don't do this. Please don't. I never read. I was a writer. I wrote down all my notes, and because once I wrote them over and over, I could commit them to memory, and I started to learn things that way. So I was the kid that I'm done. If you're ready to go out there.
Push the rock back.
So I was the kid that sat in the front of the room and couldn't wait for the teacher to pass the test out because I knew I needed to get all this information out before I forgot it, and I was always the first one finished. Because the longer I sat there, the more I either forgot or I started kind of doubting myself what I knew. So, what's a day like working at ESPN? It's nerve-wracking, it's fun, it's cool, but it's really no different than any other job. It's a lot of preparation. It's cool to wear suits. It was a little uncomfortable as a man wearing makeup. I had to get used to that. I don't know how you ladies do that with the liner and all that. I can't do all that. And here's the thing. As you see, because I'm a sweater, and I'm talking to the teachers now, because I sweat a lot, they're always trying to put powder on me. And the more powder they put on me, it's like the hotter I get. So I finally had to tell the makeup artist, I said, sweetheart, the more powder you put, it's not going to make me stop sweating. I said, what's going to make me stop sweating is if we turn this AC down to like 64. I said, powder's not going to stop this. And so finally, there's a running joke around the company now that me and Chris Berman, you can hang the heat in the studio, literally. Because it's these lights that come on, the lights are really hot. The lights are hot. You put the makeup on, you put a suit on, you put a towel on. I finally learned some tricks of the trade. I usually don't wear socks or shoes underneath the set. I have flip-flops on. Okay? Seriously. Because there's about 3 or 4 places on our body that heat comes from. Top of our head, our feet, our hands. That's where the heat comes out the most. That's where it shows. And so I became cooler when I took my socks and shoes off. Now, if we're doing a stand-up meeting, if we're standing up, you got to put shoes on. So if you ever see me behind the desk, just tell your mom and dad you didn't have any shoes on whatsoever. Did I always want to be a professional football player? No. I wanted to leave Winsboro, Louisiana. I never knew what I wanted to do. I never thought about setting out one day and wanting to be a professional football player. I just wanted to get out of my town because I knew there was something more. First time I saw a palm tree was 1999 May when I landed in Tampa, Florida. Never saw a palm tree before in my life. Never even thought about it. First time I ever saw one. And now somebody, like, you would have to really put a gun in my head to get me to leave Florida now. Sunshine and no state taxes, it's an amazing thing. Here's the question, and I'll read it and then I'll expound on it. What's the best part and worst part of being famous? Here's what I'll say. I'm not famous. People just recognize my face and know. That doesn't mean you're famous. Okay, Jay-Z and Beyonce, they're famous. Justin Bieber's famous. Here's what I describe as famous. You can go anywhere in the world and people know who you are. That's when you're famous. People just know who I am because they see me on TV in some spots. Best part about it is you don't have to wait in line for a lot of things. That's the cool part about it. That's the cool part about it. All right. The worst part about it is that there are times when you just want to relax and do simple things. Like this is probably too much information, but I'm gonna say it anyway. So I used to live in West Chase, which is probably 15 minutes from here. And growing up in the country in Louisiana, we wake up, we kind of walk outside, walk around barefooted. I didn't wear a shirt. I mean, as long as you had on, bottoms, you were good. So I was living in West Chase. This is like my second year in Tampa. And so I wake up, I bought a house, I walk outside barefooted, I got some shorts on, I'm gonna grab my newspaper. And because the homes were so close, my next door neighbor, who I found out, great people, but at the time I didn't know him, it's like this 65-year-old couple. And they knew who I was. They were like, Anthony, welcome to the neighborhood. It's 6 in the morning, I got no shirt on, I haven't brushed my teeth, and she's just trying to hold a full conversation. It's like, it's probably not the time. It's literally not the time. Or when you go to McDonald's and you're so hungry that you pull off to the side and you want to eat all your food right there in the drive-thru, and people pass by and they're pointing. It's like certain things that most people take for granted. I'm not gonna say I can't do because I still do them, but it's probably frowned upon. What's the best thing about being a football player? The money. I'll be honest with you. Listen, there is absolutely no question whatsoever. You get to play or you get to go to work, regardless of what you see on TV. Football players basically work July to January. So you can work 6 months out of the year, and if you play 10 years, so you can basically work the equivalent of 5 years, and you can make more money in 5 years than most people make in their whole life. Now, that's the great part about it. The bad part about it is it's a very physically demanding game. I've had 9 surgeries, and I'm 43 years old. 9, okay? I've broken bones. I broke this arm. Literally, the year we won the Super Bowl, I broke this arm. And funny story, the trainer didn't know it was broken. Okay, weird. This is very weird. He didn't know it was broken. I go to the sideline. I said, "Hey man, my arm feels funny." And he looked at it and he literally took it and twisted it, and I didn't feel it. And he's like, "Okay, cool." So he put a pad on top of it. I went back in the game, and as I'm in my stance and I'm pushing off, I see the bone raise up. It didn't come out of the skin, but it actually did raise up. And I go back to the sideline, and he said, "What's wrong?" I said, "The same thing I told you an hour ago." I said, "My arm broken." So it's tough, man. Like football is physically tough. But there's no doubt about it. If you can get through it, the best part about it is the money, because the money allows you to do things and it allows you to live a better life and it allows you to do it quicker. So there are a lot of people that I graduated high school with who have made a lot of money, but I made mine between 20 and 30. They made theirs over the course of, 20 years. So it just allows you to do things a little bit faster. Okay? What's the best advice that you can give young athletes? It's very similar to the advice that I've given you guys now. It's have confidence and dream big. Football players are no different than you. Tom Brady is no different than anybody in here. Having had several conversations, he's no different. He's got a family, he's got 2 dogs, he's got a wife, he's got kids. He's no different. He likes to do the same thing. Same thing. All right? He likes eating ice cream. His is just avocado ice cream. Like all the same things that you and your dad and mom like doing, most of the people that we call quote unquote famous, they like doing. It's no different. It's literally no different. My favorite food, if you told me, said, "Booger, you can have one thing for the next year," you know what I would have? Peanut butter and jelly. I'd have it every single day. Now, I may be a little constipated. If you don't know what that is, Google it. But it's literally, it's the one thing. Peanut butter and jelly is the one thing that I would have every single day. Okay? Let's see, a couple more and then we'll wrap this up. If you didn't have the career, what would I be doing? You know, funny story. The same little short, fat, shy kid with an afro who used to hate talking to people, who didn't like to talk to people, I actually enjoy talking to people now. So what I would be doing, I majored in business management, particularly human resource management at LSU, which is basically business where you're involved talking to people, working with people, doing different things when it comes to people. So that's what I did. And so I would want to work with people. Didn't say I was going to be a teacher, but I want to work with people because I enjoy the conversation. I enjoy engaging with people of all kinds, people who come from all different type places. Last one. Let's see, I want to make sure I get a good one here. Oh, what was the draft like for you? So the draft this year was in Cleveland, Ohio. And I don't know how many of you guys have ever been to Cleveland. Cleveland is a great city. Here's the reason I love Cleveland. All right, especially in April. Cleveland was about, it was about 60 degrees. Absolutely perfect temperatures, what I call big man weather. Meaning you don't get too hot. All right, now it kind of goes against everything I've said because I love Florida, I love the heat. But again, when you have on 3 shirts and a tie, you got hot lights, you don't want to be hot. You want to be nice and cool. But I like Cleveland because of the people. When you walk down the street, the people simply said, hello, how you doing? Are you enjoying the city? Have you found a good spot to eat? It's the simple things in life that I enjoy. The very, very simple things. And so, hopefully those questions, hopefully you guys have gotten some good answers. Hopefully everybody has a great summer. Hopefully we do something fun. I learned a TikTok dance thanks to you ladies. And the last thing I want to do before I leave, I'm sure Ms. Marcus, they want to say a little something. You guys, people are always taking a picture of me. They're like, hey, can we take a picture of you? I want to take a picture with everybody. We're going to get one huge selfie before I leave with everybody. I'll send it to the teachers and you all can have it. How's that? All right. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.